Thank you all for coming along. I omitted to mention at the beginning of the school that one of our long-term supporters, Colin Power, passed away earlier in the year. Some of you may have known him, and I'm remembering him now. The chair for this evening's session is Mary Crotty. Mary is a member of the National Committee of the People's Movement, among other things. So I'll hand you over to Mary right away. Oh, I should say, fire escapes. If some of us got on fire, the back and the door you came in through.
Hello and welcome to the final session of Desmond Reeve Summer School 2010, sorry. Frank's already pointed out the emergency exit, and I'd also like to ask that you switch your mobile phones to silent. In this session we're going to consider the interaction between three controversial concepts, namely gender, class and the Irish economy. Historically, the task of establishing systematic causal connections between the three has proved to be rather problematic. Studies of stratification and class were for many years gender blind. They were written as though women did not exist, or as though for purposes of analysis, divisions of power, wealth and prestige, women were unimportant and uninteresting. Yet gender itself is one of the most profound examples of stratification. There are no societies in which men do not, in some aspects of social life, have more wealth, status and influence than women. Inequalities of gender are more deep-rooted historically than class systems. Men have superior standing to women even in hunting and gathering societies, where there are no classes. Yet class divisions are so marked in modern societies that there is no doubt that they overlap substantially with gender inequalities. In 2005, the United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women highlighted the progress made by women in Ireland, but also referred to a number of areas of ongoing concern. On the positive side, the study showed that the proportion of women in employment has increased considerably in recent years, and women now comprise the majority of graduates in many fields in third level, and girls outperform boys in leaving cert level. However, the CEDAW pointed out that women in general in Ireland remain concentrated on part-time, low-paid employment in comparison to men, and the pay gap persists. The average earnings of women remain less than men. Women in Ireland also continue to be at higher risk of poverty than men. This said, we must acknowledge that one of the major social changes in Ireland in recent decades has been the real improvement in choices available to women and in the overall position of women within Irish society. It is impossible to generalise about the experience of Irish women. Whilst there are similarities in our lives, and even in our political activism, there are also divergences and paradoxes. It is important that we learn from the history of women's movement globally, that we must strive to achieve a level of tolerance for the views of others within and outside the feminist movement. We need to be aware of the dangers of exclusion and polarisation, to work towards more complex positions which incorporate awareness of inequality between the classes as well as between the sexes. It is important to be mindful of the need for debate and argument as a means of progressing the position of all marginalised groups. It appears to me that a major weakness of the left in Ireland is that it is so fractured. As we struggle to come to terms with the most worst economic crisis since the foundation of the state, it may be that the greatest potential for the women's movement in Ireland today will be to unite the left and to bring about real social change and change the status quo in this country. Now I'm delighted to introduce our three speakers for this afternoon session. Each will speak for approximately 20 minutes, after which the floor will be open to questions. Anne Casey is a Union Skills Coordinator in the Irish Congress of Trade Unions and has been involved in several global solidarity campaigns. Kathleen O'Neill works in Kilbarrack Community Development Project and is a prominent advocate for the rights of women and the disadvantaged. and Kathleen Lynch is Professor of Equality Studies in UCD and author of numerous works on equality and social justice issues, both nationally and globally. We'll start the session with a presentation from Anne Casey.